Okay, so the next step is to go ahead and put covers on your covers. So cover paper or cover fabric on your covers, and then we're also going to put end sheets on the inside. So I have a partially started book that I'm going to show you just to give you an idea of what I'm going to do for this book as well. So you could choose fabric, you could choose decorative paper. I'm using decorative paper. What you generally need is your cover boards already cut, obviously, and then you need the paper that you're going to use for the outside cover, which should be a little bit bigger than the actual cover. So at least an inch. If you want to use, I don't know, you could do like 3 fingers, 2 fingers. You just want to have enough so that way when you wrap this around, there's going to be a lip here that can be a tab to keep it all the way on the inside of the cover there. Okay, and then you're also going to want an end sheet that's going to go in over top of those tabs on the inside just to keep it really nice and well crafted, nice looking. So this is a cover that I've already covered. I actually started sewing this part already before finishing the back cover, but, or actually looks like this is probably the back and that will probably be the front. So just some tips, and just so you can see what it will end up looking like. This is what I'm going to model mine off of. You can see I have just the same pattern paper in a different color for each of these two papers that are combined. But you can use just one solid paper for the front or for the back. Or you could also gesso your covers. So if you'd like to decorate them yourselves, you can just paint them white with gesso, and then you can paint them whatever you'd like them to be, or put some other, like line work or something, some fun original artwork of your own on your covers, which would be fine too. So you'll see this is the outside of the back, okay, and then this is the end sheet here. And so the outside has wrapped around to the inside, and then the end sheet has covered up the tabs on the inside of the cover, so that way it looks a little more professional. And then this one I actually started sewing already. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and measure and end up gluing. You'll see this sheet that's for the cover of this partially started book. I actually started by gluing this kind of like spine area that I decided to do onto that paper. So you could do that and have like 2 contrasting papers like that, or you could just use one solid sheet. But I'm going to go ahead and start like this one for this book. Something you want to keep in mind is you want to make sure that your front and your back cover match. Since this pattern is on the paper, I want to make sure that the pattern isn't like right side up on one side and upside down on the other side. So you want to make sure that it's facing the correct way. And so what I did was I just went ahead and labeled my covers front, and then I put an arrow on it so that way I knew which side was up. And then on the inside I put the up arrow, although that's not really going to matter because I think I'm going to end up just using this paper for the inside for the end sheet. Again, inside an up arrow, and then this is the back and facing upward. So that just helps me to keep track of things when I measure and when I glue the paper onto the cover. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this paper to the side for right now. I'm just looking at the pattern and thinking about how I'd like the pattern to go across. The front and the back of the book. Just making sure I'm going to have enough. Space to make sure that it will wrap around with tabs. So let's just rotate this. Just put my paper flush on the grid. I looked at the pattern to see what part I wanted to appear on the front cover. I made sure I had enough to cover the front and back and have some extra, about 3 finger widths worth, to create tabs that would wrap around the inside of the cover. I used 2 contrasting papers for my cover. You could try this or just use one type of fabric or paper. I cut my paper with a ruler and a utility knife over an alvin mat. You could try this or try using the paper cutter. Keep in mind the paper cutter doesn't really work for fabric. Whenever cutting, always work over an alvin mat. Whenever gluing, always work over scrap paper like newsprint or paper from the roll in the classroom.